Okay, so we're going to do another little demo, this time Cathy's back garden. I love this because of the sunlight coming through these trees and just catching some of the leaves and whatnot. And this greenhouse just here, which I'll make a little bit bigger than it really is. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible. Had another go at a video yesterday. Found again that I was talking to myself for about an hour. Such a fool. Because the phone switched itself off. Anyway, it's all a learning curve. I'll get there. So this one works all right. So I'm just marking in the main elements of the picture. That's a bit of interesting fence in the background there. Lots of foliage, and I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. Nice how the shadows are just cascading across the grass here. Okay, but just blocking in quite wet paint these dark areas. A little bit of water. Squinting all the time to try and isolate these shapes and ignore the details. Don't know why I started off mixing a green, don't usually do that at all. Overwhelmed by all the green in this picture. I must start with green, I thought. Big mistake. Follow the usual idea, the usual principle. Okay, so some dark in here, either side of this tree. One good idea with something like this probably is to do the wipe out technique. Paint a load of dark all over it and then just wipe out the areas of light. I think I quite like it as it is. I don't think I'll do any more. Silly boy. Right. Just with a wet tissue, just wiping away some of the areas of some of the lighter areas. Using white, tiny bit of lemon yellow up here. Quite thick paint. Squint, squint. Didn't deliberately put that music on for this video, but put Radio 3 on because I'm kind of getting a bit fed up with constant bulletins and reminders about the virus that's going on at the moment. Stuck in the house. Soften some of these edges. Bit of diffused light, some of it is quite sharp, some of it quite soft. Let's crack on with some greens. Bit of yellow, bit of cad blue, cerulean blue even. Quite a warm green. Tiny bit of red. Just picking out the brighter greens where the light's just catching it through here. Still just looking for big shapes. Almost scumbling over the surface of the painting. Which we've got in places down here. Don't want to completely lose the dark that I've already put down. So just scumble over the surface here. See some of the burnt sienna still showing through. Almost like a neutral green, which I quite like. So up into this tree up here. Trying to work very quickly. Don't want to dawdle over this. Important not to get lost in all these leaves and all these details and the branches and whatnot. Try and make it as quickly as possible. Maybe do it in one go. So the greens in the background there, just a little bluer, a little slightly different tone and a slightly different colour. Again, leaving some of the brown under painting. I want to try and cover as much of this as possible, and then get some of the sort of more drawing, get back to more drawing and start to draw in some of the trees and whatnot. which is a little bit of medium, just to loosen this paint. Squinting all the time. This photograph was taken late summer. We had a class in Cathy's garden, which was great fun, and I just had to get this photograph for, I knew it would make a good image later on. I wasn't painting that day, helping others to paint instead, so I couldn't do what I really wanted to do, which was paint this lovely view. But I'm doing it now, which is all good. Some of those ochres down here. Really squinting hard at this. Looking for smaller shapes. The trouble with doing that is, of course, you tend to slow down a little bit. Try not to do that.
Happy is the man who finds a true man. Happier still, he who finds a true friend in his wife. These days, marriage is an alarming thought to an unmarried man.
If you use your finger, make sure that it's got no paint on it. It's a mistake I always make. Dive in without thinking too much. Put a big black, dark or red mark somewhere where it's not really appropriate. So in doing this, your eye goes to the areas which are more contrasty, which are harder edged, where there's more contrast between light and tone. And these areas of calm help to dump light. Light's coming through it, it wants to be nice and bright. But not a flat colour. I can see I'm going to be turning that radio off in a minute. Keep it simple, keep it simple. It's too yellow, so a little bit of ochre into it. Very bright, tiny bit of pink on its own, some red on its own. Works nicely with these yellows, of course. Bit of lemon yellow and white. Just teasing the colour. You don't want to be too obvious with these marks in the shrubs here. A little bit of oil. Some sort of fence there, isn't there? Maybe carries on along here. Nice random marks, broken brush marks. We'll go back into that and draw it. I'm going to have a dark against the greenhouse rather than that bit of stingers or whatever it is. Come up to this dark shape up here, ultra blue, a little bit of yellow, tiny bit of burnt sienna. Bring some of that dark down into some of these leaves that are in full shadow. Quite dark actually, this, isn't it? To go through a painting, you find, start from this side, twist the brush. As you go from the tree, the way the branches are growing. Notice how they cascade down. Not too many. And then on this side, put a little cerulean blue with burnt sienna, tiny bit of white. Quite thick paint. Reveal the colour below, which I might stick with. Try a little oil with that mixture. Crikey, getting a bit churchy. Avoid fiddling. Let's have some drawing on this greenhouse. Just trying to keep it simple. When something goes quite well, you think, oh, that went well, I must do some more of that. I enjoyed that. That obviously worked quite well. And then I've got here, which is supposed to be fairly dark. Not very dark, is it? Deliberately trying different brush marks to try and get less obvious sort of shapes down, if you know what I mean. Just a little blue mark, really. I don't want anything else. Don't know what it is, I don't know what it's doing, but it's just there. Push some of the sunlight, the very bright sunlight. The light's just catching a few of these leaves over here. Squint, squint, squint. Don't fiddle, don't overdo it. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. Keep some of these areas soft. A cooler blue back here. Cooler blue, cooler green even. Perhaps ultra blue, make it even darker. Just realised I've still got the small brush in my hand. Big mistake. Make that a bit richer towards orange. Too much. Thick buttery paint. Trick is really to just not worry too much about it, just whack it on. This is the fun bit. Of course, you only get to this stage if you feel you're being successful, or I do anyway. If it's gone okay, this is what I'll do to finish off often. If it hasn't brushed out and fiddling and trying to rescue things, but if it's gone reasonably okay like this has, then I'm confident to just establish some of these nice light, use my finger and whatnot. So I haven't gone overboard with the thin rigger. Put a few branches in the foreground, a few twigs and whatnot. I keep saying whatnot. Kind of get self-conscious about how you speak and things when you're doing these vids. Stupidly. Mustn't overdo this stage. See, I'm starting to fiddle and it's making me feel anxious. So I'll stop there. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a very quick little painting. Not sure how long it took.